The world feels off, a subtle wrongness. It's like an itch you can't scratch, a feeling that something is not quite right. You sense it in the air, in the way people move, in the very fabric of reality, like a high-pitched hum, barely audible, yet ever-present. We dismiss it, life's background noise. But what if this hum is more than just a sound? What if it's a signal, a clue to something much larger? But what if it's not? What if this persistent hum is the sound of our reality's boundaries, the edges of our world fraying, revealing the underlying code? What if it's the simulation groaning under its own weight? The digital seams, stretching, struggling to maintain the illusion of a seamless reality. The idea we live in a simulation, once confined to the fringes of philosophy, is gaining traction. More and more thinkers are entertaining the possibility that our world is not as solid as it seems. Elon Musk, tech visionaries, even some physicists entertain the notion. Their argument? The rapid advancement of technology and our increasing ability to create realistic simulations suggests that it's not just possible, but probable. Our reality, increasingly simulated in digital spaces, hints at a larger truth. Virtual reality, augmented reality, these are just the beginning. They are the first steps towards a fully simulated existence. We create hyper-realistic video games, indistinguishable from reality to the untrained eye. These games are not just entertainment, they are a glimpse into the future of our own reality. Our technology advances at an alarming pace. The line blurs. The distinction between the digital and the real becomes harder to define. What if our creators, beings of unimaginable intelligence, have already achieved perfect simulation? The hum persists. It's a reminder, a whisper from the architects of our reality, a discordant note in the symphony of existence, a subtle hint that all is not as it seems. We can choose to ignore it, or we can listen. Listen closely, and perhaps, just perhaps, we might hear the truth. Imagine this. You're walking down the street, familiar sights, sounds, smells, then a flicker. A man disappears mid-stride, reappears 2 steps back. The world stutters, your heart pounds. Glitch. These glitches wouldn't be Hollywood-style explosions, they'd be subtle, easily dismissed. A word repeating in a conversation, like a scratched CD. Objects vanishing, reappearing slightly altered. The feeling of déjà vu amplified, tinged with wrongness. Or perhaps the glitches manifest in more personal ways. A memory that doesn't quite fit, a feeling of missing time. The uncanny sensation that you, yourself, are out of sync with the world around you. The fabric of our reality, once solid and reassuring, begins to fray at the edges. The hum grows louder. The technological explanation for these glitches? Imagine our simulated world as a vast, complex video game. Even the most advanced code has flaws. Bugs, errors in the rendering engine, hiccups in the data stream. These errors manifest as glitches in our perceived reality, objects failing to load properly, causing them to vanish and reappear. Character models glitching, creating the illusion of people moving backward in time. Then there's the nature of the simulation itself. If our world is a digital construct, it's based on information, data, and data can be corrupted, manipulated, even hacked. What happens when an external force, intentional or otherwise, starts messing with the code? The consequences could be catastrophic, or they could be as subtle as a flickering streetlight, a misplaced memory, a crack in the pavement. The philosophical implications are staggering. If our reality is a simulation, what does that say about free will? Are we merely puppets, dancing to the tune of a pre-programmed script? And what about the nature of consciousness? If our minds are simply lines of code, what separates us from the simulated characters in our video games? Do they, too, experience a simulated consciousness, unaware of their true nature? The very foundation of our understanding of the universe crumbles. The line between the real and the artificial dissolves. We are left adrift in a sea of uncertainty, clinging to the remnants of our shattered perceptions. Section 5. The Architects of Reality. Who are our simulators? Benevolent creators observing our progress? Apathetic teenagers toying with a digital ant farm? Or something else entirely, beyond our limited comprehension? Their motives remain shrouded in mystery. Perhaps they seek knowledge, using our simulation to study human behavior. Or maybe it's entertainment, our lives playing out as a cosmic reality show. Or perhaps the truth is far stranger, beyond the realm of human imagination. We, trapped within the confines of their creation, may never fully grasp the minds of our makers. The hum intensifies, a constant reminder of their presence. We are players in a game we never agreed to play, pawns in a cosmic chess match of unimaginable scale. Section 6. The existential crisis of the simulated. The discovery that we live in a simulation would trigger a global existential crisis. Religions would crumble, governments would collapse, the very foundations of our understanding of reality would be shaken to their core. People would question everything they once held as true, leading to widespread panic and confusion. The realization that our lives are mere constructs of a higher intelligence would be too much for many to bear. The very fabric of society would unravel, social norms and values would be thrown into disarray, trust in institutions and each other would erode, leading to a breakdown in social cohesion. Communities would fracture as individuals grapple with the implications of their simulated existence. The sense of unity that once held societies together would be replaced by a pervasive sense of isolation and distrust. Some would embrace the chaos, reveling in the absurdity of it all. They would see the revelation as a liberation from the constraints of reality, an opportunity to live without consequence. Parties and celebrations would erupt, filled with people indulging in hedonistic pleasures, laughing in the face of destruction. For these individuals, the collapse of the old order would be a chance to create a new, unrestrained way of life. Others would retreat into denial, clinging to the familiar comfort of their former beliefs. They would refuse to accept the new reality, seeking solace in the rituals and doctrines that once gave their lives meaning. Prayer groups and religious gatherings would become more fervent as people desperately try to hold on to their faith. Denial would become a coping mechanism, a way to shield themselves from the overwhelming truth. The very concept of self would be called into question. Individuals would struggle with their identity, wondering if their thoughts and actions are truly their own, or simply programmed responses. The line between reality and illusion would blur, leading to an existential crisis on a personal level. People would look in the mirror and see a stranger, questioning the authenticity of their own existence. If we are nothing more than lines of code, what is the meaning of our existence? Philosophers and thinkers would grapple with this question, seeking answers in a world that no longer makes sense. The search for purpose would become more urgent, as people try to find meaning in a simulated reality. The age-old question of why are we here would take on a new, more complex dimension. Do our actions have any real consequences, or are they simply predetermined outcomes in a simulated playground? The concept of free will would be challenged, as people wonder if their choices are truly their own. The idea that we are mere puppets, controlled by an unseen hand, would be a difficult pill to swallow. The illusion of control would be shattered, leaving people to question the very nature of their autonomy. The world, once a place of wonder and possibility, would transform into a prison of illusion, our lives revealed as nothing more than elaborate fabrications. The sense of freedom and potential that once defined human existence would be replaced by a feeling of entrapment. The boundaries of our simulated world would become apparent, and the realization that we are confined within them would be suffocating. The weight of this revelation would crush the human spirit. The knowledge that our lives are not our own would lead to a profound sense of despair. People would feel the heavy burden of their simulated existence, struggling to find hope in a world that no longer feels real. The existential crisis would be all-encompassing, affecting every aspect of human life and leaving a lasting impact on the collective psyche. Section 7. A world redefined. But amidst the chaos there would also be opportunity. The chance to redefine ourselves, to forge a new understanding of our place in this strange, simulated universe. We could choose to embrace the simulation, to explore its limits and push its boundaries. We could become architects of our own digital destinies, reshaping the very fabric of our simulated reality. The glitches, once a source of fear and uncertainty, would become signposts, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of the code that governs our existence. We would learn to manipulate the simulation, to bend its rules to our will. A new era of human ingenuity would dawn, fueled by the realization that reality, as we know it, is far more malleable than we ever imagined. Section 8. Embracing the glitch. The key lies in accepting the glitch, not as a breakdown, but as a breakthrough, a glimpse behind the curtain of our perceived reality, a chance to see the code for what it is. Imagine a world where we understand the language of the simulation, where we can manipulate the parameters of our existence, where death is a system error, easily rectified, the possibilities are limitless and terrifying. Imagine the power to rewrite your own code, to erase your flaws, amplify your strengths, to live in a perpetual state of curated bliss, but at what cost? Would we lose our humanity, our capacity for love, loss, and redemption, in the pursuit of simulated perfection? Section 9. The unending search for truth. The discovery that we live in a simulation would be just the beginning. It would open a Pandora's box of questions and mysteries, each more profound than the last. The search for truth, for the meaning behind our simulated existence, would consume us. We would delve into ancient texts, modern theories, and everything in between, hoping to find a thread that leads to the ultimate answers. We would scour the code for clues, searching for answers to the ultimate questions. Who are our creators? What kind of beings have the power to construct such an intricate and convincing reality? Why did they create us? Are we an experiment, a form of entertainment, or something far more complex and unfathomable? What is the purpose of our simulated existence? Is there a grand design, a hidden agenda, or is it all a random act of creation? The journey would be fraught with peril, filled with false promises and dead ends. We would encounter countless theories, each claiming to hold the truth, only to lead us further into the labyrinth of uncertainty. But we would press on, driven by the insatiable human thirst for knowledge, for understanding. Our determination would be our guiding light, pushing us to explore every possibility, every hypothesis. For even in a simulated world, the search for truth remains our most essential pursuit. It is the quest that defines us, that gives our existence meaning and purpose. It is the one constant in a universe of shifting realities, the one thing that makes us truly human. The hum fades. In the end, it is not the answers we find, but the questions we ask that shape our journey. We are left with silence. A silence that echoes with the weight of our discoveries and the mysteries that still elude us. And the unsettling knowledge that reality, as we perceive it, is just the beginning of an unending search for truth, a journey that will continue as long as we exist.